So one of the first questions we're going to look at today is how do your products use or challenge conventions and how do they represent social groups or issues? So Bray and I chose to use the genre of coming of age, and usually in that genre it looks at teenagers going through relationship issues or home issues. Ours is a little bit different. We still use a lot of the same genre conventions, except ours is kind of challenges a few of them in the terms of we don't really have a relationship per se in the thing. It's kind of showing how girls are supporting other girls, why they're going through the traumatic events as most teenage movies do have. And we kind of wanted to use the mise-en-scène of having the main characters look like regular students. We wanted to film out of school because it's the most accurate and most authentic place you can shoot for a movie based at school. So we had classes, we had the campus, and we had the kids. And it was really easy because if we needed background characters, we could shoot. And as people are always walking to and from classes at school, we didn't really need to worry about having to find more people, having to place them in like a park or getting all the people. It was kind of easy just to get our main actors. And in the same way, we wanted to show how through the cinematography of the establishing shot as you're panning through the school to show how big the campus is compared to how small Miranda is and even Noah. And we can kind of show that more through like the sound with, even though we had non-diegetic sound through the acoustic songs, we also had the ambient sounds of the classrooms to add each layer to show how alone she is with her thoughts, even though she can hear everything, no one can hear what she is saying. And so this kind of challenges the genre because she doesn't really have friends. In most of the movies, they might be alone, but they also have a lot of friends. She has one friend, and she doesn't really know what she's going to do. Now going back to some of the social issues is we're really kind of trying to face bullying head on and showing how students can be really cruel to other students and how we don't really have enough showing in movies, like how it still happens in high school because everyone knows that you really face it or there's more stigma around it in middle school and elementary school, but you kind of get over it in high school, and we're kind of show like how much people can affect students who already have so much more going on at home, and how just because she's mute and she's different doesn't mean that she's weird. It just means that she has a lot going on. And so we're challenging this through showing how people are actually trying to help the situation instead of harming it, which is really unusual in movies nowadays because it always shows how the person who's getting hurt, such like Miranda, how she has to fix it herself instead of she's getting help without realizing it through other people who see that there's issues in the world and they want to fix it. And so that's kind of like how we were showing the art room, showing the students how they're painting and they're making the kindness rocks, which we ended up doing a lot of research about because we needed to see like why it was put forward, how they made it, and we kind of ruined a couple of rocks because we didn't realize that we needed acrylic paint instead of oil paint. But once we figured it out, it ended up great because it showed how vibrant the rocks were compared to everything else, which was kind of an issue because it is the splash of color, but everything's in black and white. So we had to figure out how to show that through usually colorful teenage movies in such a more noir look to it until we get to the art room, where that's where we kind of bring back the genres bright colors and it's vibrant and it kind of gives like a sense of happiness. So our next question is, how do your products engage with the audience and how would they be distributed as real media products? Through our research, we found that we needed to find a company that had a similar vision to us, and that was A24 because they have a lot of movies which are coming of age and they deal with controversial situations. They made movies such as The Fault in Our Stars, The Spectacular Now, which we kind of looked up to and kind of had inspiration off of because we wanted to challenge the things of mental health and bullying and show how students can overcome things. And we thought that they had the best fit because of, again, they made the similar movies. And then we also thought the best way to present this idea would be at a film festival because that's where you can kind of show these more controversial ideas because big companies, it doesn't fit the action movies like the Marvel movies or the Harry Potter movies, like the big teenage book series that they're making right now. So we thought the film festivals would be great because it'd be some more independent distributors would be there who might be willing to take a challenge of our video in our movies. And so we also came up with the idea that if maybe it didn't do as well at the film festivals, that we could find Netflix and Amazon because the CEO of Netflix said that, well, we like people when there's kind of like revenge or backstabbings in the video in the movies. And so ours is she gets betrayed by her friends because of how she's treated because something happened to her and she can't say this and her respect was betrayed. So I feel like that would be a good fit for Netflix or Amazon, especially with the teen movies where people could really come and fit with us because teenagers from now moving on to how did your production skills develop through this project? So one of the main things that made me a better filmmaker was the fact that I did the cinematography and I edited the not only the videos together but the audio. So I did the sound editing and cinematography, which at the beginning I was like, oh, it's not that difficult because throughout the year we did multiple projects where I kind of focused on them because I had the iMovie and I always had my computer with me, so I was one who edited it. Turns out I was not as great as I thought I was. So it took a lot of skill, and I ended up figuring out how to edit videos quicker and easier than before through iMovie. I didn't always use it as much, but now because I've had a couple months, I really got used to it. Like I found shortcuts, and I think all around it just made me become better at editing. It made it smoother than I was before because I was really choppy at editing. So now it's a little bit better. And I edited the not only the videos together but the audio. So I did the sound editing and cinematography, which at the beginning I was like, oh, it's not that difficult because throughout the year we did multiple projects where I kind of focused on them because I had the iMovie and I always had my computer with me, so I was one who edited it. Turns out I was not as great as I thought I was. So it took a lot of skill, and I ended up figuring out how to edit videos quicker and easier than before through iMovie. I didn't always use it as much, but now because I've had a couple months, I really got used to it. Like I found shortcuts, and I think all around it just made me become better at editing. It made it smoother than I was before because I was really choppy at editing. So now it's a little bit better. Some of the main things I learned is how much planning went into it, like how we need to check what settings we were going to use, like which picture we need to take pictures of the library, the classrooms, the lunchroom, and then we even needed to write a script. Even though we didn't really have a set script, we also had to write out the blocking within the script and then with her voiceovers, and we also needed to plan on the lighting, what days we were going to shoot, the costuming, everything that we needed to include from like the mise en scène to actually editing it. We needed a plan, and I didn't realize how much planning went into it, especially with how much can change as you're going because there were days like we needed cloudy weather outside. All of a sudden, it was sunny for a week. So we kind of had to make up backup plans. And I learned about the process. It has to be kind of fluid, and you need to be able to adapt and make sure that you have enough of the videos because I think that was one of our main issues of our project is we just did not have enough video for the project to make sure it's very smooth. I think for what we were able to get, it ended up pretty good. But I know what I would do in the future is I would change from that because it just did not work out. And that was one of the main things that I learned about the process is you need to have a plan, you need to be able to adapt as your plan changes, and you need to make sure you have enough video. Not only will I be leaving the class as more skilled than I was before in making movies, I'm going to have more background knowledge and know the steps and be able to teach someone and help them figure out what you need to do in order to make it and be able to learn and not take your failures as failures. Like you need to take them as a part of the way to get better. And I think all around I'm going to be able to know I'm a knowledgeable filmmaker and like even more than when I started. Finally, how did you integrate technology, software, hardware, and online in this project? One of the main things that we used was iMovie. iMovie was a lifesaver in our project because it was kind of easy to adapt and learn how to use. We also relied heavily on our iPhones for both pictures, for the cinematography, and for our audio recordings. I did also use the internet for research on how to figure out how to use these different technologies and what was the best way to use because we didn't know whether we should get a camera to record or just use our iPhones. And the same with recording, or whether we should use get a microphone or if we should just use our iPhones. Which it ended up we already had everything because I could airdrop everything from my phone to my computer without the images being encrypted or warped in any way, and it ended up being the best thing to use in this project. One of the main things we used the technology for was to flip our videos and add color filters. These ended up being very, very, very important in our project because it helped make sure that it fit the rest of the video because it wasn't until the very end this week that I realized our establishing shot did not follow the screen direction or the 180 degrees system as the rest of our video. So I found out that through the internet and on my computer that I could flip the recording so it would match up the direction of walking, which ended up saving our lives because we really needed to have that video fit with the rest of the clips. And then we also used a color filter. We made it in noir to make sure that it had the splash of color in it, because it wouldn't really make sense if we called it a splash of color and you could see color in every single picture. And not only did I change the rest of the video to black and white, I also changed the rocks itself to a desaturated color where you can still tell it was colorful and that there's a little different, but it didn't go from A to B and have that very vibrant change that would kind of confuse or startle the viewers. So we wanted to make sure it was smooth, but you could still get the point across. Finally, here are my references, and I want to thank you for watching my videos and giving me the opportunity to be able to talk you through my movie making process, and hopefully you can watch a splash of color and you can enjoy the video. Thank you.